Hello listeners, you're listening to 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. I'm Satyal.
And I'm Silwal, and we're a weekly podcast from the Himalayas.
When it's a Tuesday and it's 7:30, you know it's time for perspectives, conversations and stories.
Welcome to Cups and Talks. I'm voice Silwal. That was voice Shikha doing her show. Oh shit. This is the wrong show. This is 18 Minutes and today's guest is Shikha, and she is part of Radio Nagrik, who does shows before me, so that was my way of introducing her. Now let's just bring her to the show, man. I've already made a mistake right now.
Thank you so much. That was a cool introduction. I like it. For once I was like, okay. That's a nice way to introduce.
So, alright, Shikha, we're not bringing you here because you're part of Radio Nagrik, but more in terms of, we wanted to know what KTM Drive is all about, because we've heard about a lot of things that is happening. There's a website, www.ktmdrive.com. If you don't know, just go to that place and look those things out. For the lazy people, we've brought in Shikha, and she's going to tell us something interesting about KTM Drive, because we just want to know more about that right now.
So KTM Drive is all professionals coming in together. It started 5 years before, June 2012 to be precise, and over a cup of coffee that I was having with my aunt, talking about how construction has been going on around the town and how we as individuals could help. So just that thought led to what KTM Drive was. So we started off with plantation events where we gave out free tree saplings at different malls. So that was just a thought that we had, but executing it was all the more difficult. But here we are. 100th event is just about to be started. In next week we will end with 100 event of ours, which is surely like a great thing that has happened. Connected about thousands of people right now, and have about 500 to 600 people who have been involved in some or the other way till date.
How do you manage time?
Because you do.
Silwal works for 17 hours and still we find it hard to do the podcast. How do you manage time? Because you're doing a full-time job as well, and you're doing radio, and you're doing Kathmandu Drive. So how's that?
KTM Drive, and you're doing Kathmandu as well. If you've not heard them, just go out, search kathmandu.com, and you'll find them as well. So
it is really tight, I would say, but
Silwal, take notes as she's saying.
you do things that you really love, right? And at times we kind of wait for the right time to be doing things, and something like these, I think there's never a right time. So how much of a time that you have, you just do the most that you can in it. So this is a fortnightly thing that we have, and not that each fortnight we do an event. Twice a month is what we focus on, and these events are already scheduled before. So whoever is coming for it, whoever's up for it, can just come for the events. If not, they could just not be there.
Now let's just put a disclaimer that KTM Drive is not an NGO.
It isn't, but it's registered.
It is registered.
We have to get it registered. We had to get it registered.
See who doesn't do his homework.
For bureaucratic reasons, we all know how Kathmandu works. But as far as I know, and I was there last week with you with
Teach with KTM Drive.
Teach with KTM Drive. How do you come up with different ideas? You started with tree saplings,
and then we went up to the rucksack project. So this again idea was from one of our members. He said there's something called the rucksack project where you get everything old, put it in a bag, give it out to people on the streets. I was like, perfect. We have such old clothes all the time. Why not get it all together? Just separate them up and give it out to people, and it's a win-win situation for everybody. So that happened, and after 9 rucksack projects that we've had till now, there was one time that we went to the old age home, and then we got to know that they wanted something there. The stuff that they wanted were blankets and bed sheets, so we got that, and then that's how we kept knowing their needs. So these are very non-financial stuff that's required, but more of the time that they require from us.
Now, I might be wrong in assuming, but I don't think you're a billionaire to be doing all these things. But
not at all.
What is the primary reason as to why you wanted to do KTM Drive?
All of us want to give. There's a part of us which wants to give, and especially me. As a kid also, my mom would take me to orphanages and places. But apart from that, the time that the blessings that you get, or the smile that you see of somebody, or the time that once we were giving out 56 shawls around the streets on a February winter morning, and there was this person, and Nuroj Shalik, thing. He was just lying down. I went and gave the blanket to him. He looked at me, just smiled, and I looked at him, and there was no conversation that happened. But that smile of his, and he cuddled down, and then he was sleeping. So that was really, really nice. And the fact that there's so many people, there are so many ways that you can get connected to these guys is just so amazing.
Despite all the great things that have happened, I'm sure there must have been times when it was difficult.
Yeah, there have been a lot of times.
Can you share some instances where it was really difficult to take on that momentum?
A member of ours made us go to this organization where they take these people from the roads and then mentor them. Not really mentor them, but take care of them and make them in good shape. And so we said, okay, what can we do for you guys? Since we aren't an organization in a big scale, this was 2 years back. So they said, so I asked, do you need some food supplies? Do you need, we thought if we could have an entertainment round, so people come and they get entertained through clown activities or let's say some other activity. So they said, no, we need help on a full scale. If you can't give that, don't even come here. So we were like, wow, we are trying to do the most that we can. And there have been questions when people have asked me that you're giving out something, what if the other person is going and selling it off and getting money out of it? How can you assure that? How can you assure that the saplings that you give are actually being taken care of, or is it just going off? So what my answer is, you can just monitor to a certain level. You can call them up and ask for pictures, but this is what people do not accept, that it is the awareness that we are trying to create. It is the part that we are wanting to inspire you, that you can be a part of giving any time in your life that you want to. So that inspiration has to come from within. And here we are not here to babysit, or you're not here to be like, oh, you have to get into charity, or whenever you're getting out, if you see somebody, go help. It has to come from within, and we would make that inspiration or get that knock on your heart. But if it doesn't urge, it doesn't. It's fine.
Yeah, I want to add to that because when I was in Gorkha last year trying to set up a school with my friend, we went out and we did the preliminary research on where is the most important place where we could give out, and it was basically preliminary research. We were just going and asking the people. A lot of times because we were going to schools, we'd meet principals and we'd meet teachers, and the first thing that they would ask is how much money we had. What are the things that we could do for them, and suddenly, just because we were talking to them, it felt like they were already expecting so much from us. But rather it was just trying to get that research done on trying to okay, is this necessary for you? Are you well off rather than someone else out there? And every time some of the places that we went, they were like, you guys don't have money, because the big NGOs with different international flags, that's where the money is, and you guys will not do anything. But yeah, as you rightly said, it has to come from within, and it has to be taken in the same way as well. We cannot always expect people to be like, okay, we have all the solutions for you, but the time that you spend with them, the smiles that you can earn from them.
And for example, there's this old age home where we give out ice cream at this place, and these elderly, some of them have diabetes.
Research on their diabetes.
Yeah, exactly. So they have diabetes, and one day in a month and in a year is just fine, is what we feel. And they wait for that day that we get ice cream for them, and the look in the faces that they're eating those ice cream is just out of the world. And during Dussehra, we go to this differently able center where we fly kites with these kids. They wait for us, and while they wait for us, that amazing time that we have with them, when we screen movies and get popcorns for them, the small things that you can do and add to how their day has been going is just wonderful.
Okay, that's nice. We're interested to know how involved youths are with whatever you're doing, Kathmandu youths.
Kathmandu youths, for once, the starting of when KTM DRIVE had started, we had this plantation event where we're giving out free saplings, as I was mentioning. So unlike how my first experience was in India, that was in Pune with my senior, and he's actually one of the persons who has been such a mentor. His name is Weber, and he'd started that in Pune. So when we were doing the same thing here, youths weren't that involved. It was the elderly who were more involved, and they would come up to us and they would actually give us good suggestions. Why are you giving out for free? You should at least charge at least 5 rupees or 10 rupees for that sapling, so people have that worth for it, which was point taken. But they were these kids and they were these youngsters who would feel shy to actually hold that sapling and go out of the mall. And I would just, it was a strange feeling for me because I'd just gotten back, and I would wonder that what possibly was going wrong. So they weren't that involved, and they wouldn't have a lot of questions, and but again, I would say there were 10% who would want to be a part of our event. And an interesting bit was, once we were having the same event, sapling event at Bhat Batini, and there was this one person who came up to us, and she said, we were thinking about what to do on our next event. So she said, I volunteer at the school in Baudha called Sagarmatha. Would you guys want to come there and do an event with the kids?
Yeah.
So I was like, perfect. And things are falling in place just like that. So that was pretty interesting.
We were just talking before we recorded the podcast on one of the main reasons why youths will not necessarily want to be part of a social event, or more like when there's more giving than rather taking, because we've been brought up in a society where we want certificates for everything that we do.
Exactly. Oh my God, yeah.
Do they ask for certificates?
Yes, they do. And there have been times where there have been random moments where people come and, oh, can I get a certificate? I would love to come for an event. And we say, we don't have a certificate, sorry. And they're like, how come you don't have a certificate? So those are the questions that has been asked. But again, on the other side, there's been one girl, I have never met her. She gives in 3,000 rupees every month for educating a kid. So we are also sponsoring about 14 kids, and she does that, and it's wonderful how she deposits 3,000, and it's not about a total of sum that needs to come in at one time, but a little by little that you can give, that gets on for a kid's education altogether, which is just so awesome. Like, kudos to her.
Yeah, because one is we'd want certificates because we want to legitimize the work that we've been doing in certificate form, so that we can put in our CVs to get into better colleges.
And Facebook posts.
Exactly, take pictures. And the other reason is, I asked you if you were a billionaire or not, because a lot of times the idea and the mentality that we have is, unless I have enough, how can I share it with other people?
There are a lot of people who say that too.
So how do you tackle this norm where you don't need to necessarily have everything for yourself before you start giving?
So there are people who've asked me, well, how do I become a member? What are the rules to be becoming a member? I said, first thing, there are no rules. If you want to come for an event, and if you think that you feel like coming for the next one, you're more than welcome. And also, given ideas wherever that you think that we could fit something in, we would do that. And also, you can let us know what is required where. So there have been a lot of new events that we've done at SSRDC, at Aishwarya Children Home, at Differently Able Center, which is Disabled New Life Center, Disabled Recreation Center, Old Age Home. We've tried and tested a lot of times, because there are places where Old Age Home, it is next to Pashupati. That's where people go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Old Age Home is just that. So there are these places and organizations which have already has so much of funding already. So we find out some other place which requires a bit more funding, and we help those places out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to add to that, where last Saturday, where I was with my grandparents, and I don't necessarily have all the time to spend a lot of time with them. So one of my youngest cousin, he had bought in a chess, and we were like, do you want to play with me and everything? And the youngest cousin, he's around 7, and I was playing with him, and it already seemed like he was going to lose. Right. My grandfather is like 80, 85, 86 right now, and he has an oxygen mask. He was just looking up, and because I thought from his perspective, the entire day, just when we are there, it's more life there, and there's more interactions, and there's everything. But for the next 18 hours that we are not with him, the best that he can do is either get from a television or just sit quietly, look out the window. And he got interested in chess, and I put the chessboard
so nice.
With him, and we played. And it was not necessarily about if I could win against my grandpa, because we played when I was really young and he would always beat me. This was not more about winning or losing, but rather spending that quality time. And sometimes where you go out and give that time to someone else who does not perhaps...
And what I feel is, when it's with a stranger that you're not connected with blood, with any which way, that you're not connected to them, and when they reciprocate in the same way. So at the old age home, whenever we go, they remember us, and they keep asking. They keep asking us, so when are you getting married, and when is the join coming in? We're like, oh my god, like, take it slow. And also, there have been times where we've had rucksack projects, and these little kids whom we've we'd given gloves once. They come up to us and they say, oh, can we help you in some way? Let me find people whom we can help. And there have been times where these kids have asked us, why are you doing this? So it's like, we are doing this so you guys grow up and do something like this. And they've assured that they would, which was so nice.
Mm-hmm. So Shikha, we're nearly coming to the end of this podcast, but a lot of our listeners are young people who are going out doing different kinds of things. So are there any ways that they can be involved with whatever you guys are doing? For example, Doodle shout out. Maybe you could go and join these guys and have
that would be great.
Go do some doodles.
Yeah, we're putting
no pressure. No pressure
on you.
Just an example. Are there any such things?
Yeah, any which way. If you have an idea that you want to give, somewhere that you think is something's required, we can collaborate and do stuff. You can just come for our events, get a feel of the whole thing. Teach with KTM Drive is something that we are doing where anybody, any professional or anyone who is retired or a student or somebody who's going to college can just come, give that 1 hour of a week to these 16 girl kids in Baneshwar. The organization's name is Chahari, and you just have a splendid 1 hour with them. That's what they asked for, and they got really excited when the whole idea came across them. And we've started that. It's been a week, and I'm sure you had a great time that day.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did not take any classes, but we're planning on creating something tangible for them so they can learn these skills. It's sometimes just spending time with them and then seeing their happy faces when they're reading
and
that
plus
story.
I feel that we learn a lot from these kids. Each event has taught us so much. Each time it has taught us so much. It has gotten so many people together, and when the day ends there is a different satisfaction and content feeling, and the feeling that your existence makes a lot of more realization of your existence goes to a very high level.
Sometimes this satisfaction comes more knowing you're not sharing it on Facebook.
Exactly.
Facebook has that thing where you say you're doing it, but the real thing occurs, the magic occurs when you actually see that transforming and transforming.
But again, let me add something to that. I guess that's true, but in a way that's how people get to know and would get connected. Yeah. That is one thing. And to add to this, there's a story that... Can I add a story to this?
Oh,
no.
Please,
okay.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Oh my god. Okay, so it was a winter morning. It's going to take a little more long. So it was a winter morning and I was going for a hike. In between, I saw this kid who was taking something out from the garbage bag. And I had a cap that was in my bag. And it always stays in the bag. So I just got out of the bike, gave it to that kid. While I was giving that, I wasn't thinking of any post, I wasn't thinking of anything, where his dad shouts out and says, "Photo khicne aina ta?" And I was like, what? This is what giving on has become now. That giving in and to give is become just clicking pictures, and everybody has that perception.
Took a little longer than 20 seconds, but Shikha, shout out to your team, whatever you guys are doing at KTM Drive. And we'll be back again next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. And one last thing.
It's never too late to start.